Hello, everyone. More and more sources, including independent journalists, are covering the overlap in the war in Iran and the war in Ukraine. The reason being, of course, that based on what we know, the intelligence we have, Iran has been supplying Russia with Shahed drones and other weapons, but primarily drones, which were then used against Ukrainian civilians. Russia and Iran mutually supply each other with intelligence. Russia has been supplying Iran with weapons in Iran's war against the US. And now we've had the incident during which Ukraine had struck an Iranian ship in the Caspian Sea. So this goes back to what I have been saying for so long now, not even just during the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, but ever since the annexation of Crimea back in March of 2014, this is all connected. This is all going to come back. This is all going to get together. This is all going to be related. Here you go. So Zelensky's meeting with Trump today. And the concern is that Trump may try to downplay Russia's involvement in Iran, which would be typical because he does not want to let go of his alleged close relationship with Putin. And we know he's very fond of Putin's style of leadership, if you can call it that. Grab power, stay in power, avoid being knocked out of power at all costs, lie, cheat, murder, all those things. So, yeah, that is a concern. Even as Ukraine, again, as a good ally, is offering the U.S. whatever intelligence it has to help in the conflict. Something else that should be on people's radar screen, this is another good time to pull up your maps. We know that Russia is friends with China. We know Russia is friends with North Korea. And now Russia and North Korea are finalizing a road crossing that connects them because that is going to provide them geographically a huge advantage. And it's a concern because we know North Korea supplies Russia with people and weapons. Again, supporting Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So time again to pull up your maps. This summary on the Guardian's website today is excellent. Actually, from yesterday is excellent. It gives you all of the details where this is so that you can find it. And it shows you where it is on the map. Not surprisingly, it was supposed to be a collaboration between Russia and North Korea, but North Korea had finished its part faster. This is not the first time somebody collaborated with Russia and ended up kind of finishing their half of the project while Russia is still dawdling. So that is going on. But again, it is happening and it's still a concern. This makes it possible to expand the road network between Russia and North Korea. And again, their railroad network is somewhat limited, but so this is a huge addition. Expanding the regular road network. And of course, again, China is right there next door. And that does not make anybody warm and fuzzy. Here's a map. So there's Tumain River, and there is a map showing you where that new bridge is going to be. So you see the convergence there. You see the convergence between Russian territory, North Korean territory, and Chinese territory. This is not the kind of alliance you want to leave unattended. And I am sincerely hoping that militaries of the world and intelligence services of the world are watching this. We do not want these three scheming together for a big variety of reasons. Now, would it be possible for Ukraine to reach as far as that? Maybe. We'll see. Could they possibly disrupt this? Could they disrupt the traffic at that bridge on the Russian side as soon as something crosses over? I don't know. The reason I'm wondering whether they actually could is this article on the Kyiv Independent website, where they're talking about a strike against Russian fuel storage facility in Udmurt Republic, which is quite a long ways away from Ukrainian front. That, and of course, other strikes Ukraine has carried out that were deep into Russian territory. So this one is more than 1,300 kilometers or 800 miles from Ukrainian border. So again, could Russia and North Korea simplify their supply exchange and troop exchange, expanding their roads? Yes. Is it theoretically possible for Ukraine eventually to get to that stuff, knowing where the roads are, since we have satellite imagery? Possibly. In this case, this facility, Prioritet facility, the name translates as priority, actually, is part of Russia's state material reserve system. And so that is an extremely important major oil depot that they just struck. I don't know what the level of damage is. Usually Russians try to keep this secret. So we'll see. But again, any damage is good. It all works. It all counts. It continues to interfere with Russia's ability to sell oil and to supply oil to its own citizens. So anything works. In addition, there's been another industrial plant that is a steel fabrication plant, clearly very important for the military, has been struck in the Moscow region. Remember what I told you about the concentration of industry in the Moscow region, including military targets. And another blackout is taking place in Crimea. I actually asked my dad about Crimea the last time I spoke to my parents on Sunday. And I asked him, I said, so is the goal to completely blockade Crimea? He said, kind of. The goal is to blockade it in such a way that there's only one way left out, but it is under constant Ukrainian observation. So the point is that if they tried to use that way out, one road, for military purposes, it would immediately be shut down. So, getting there. And Zelensky reported on his conversation with Trump is good. He always says that. I know that. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. He did say they discussed the licenses for Patriot interceptors. That is the material point. This is why I said, he should have given Trump something to sign right away when Trump basically said, oh, Ukraine, go ahead and make your own Patriots. But now we still have to go through the process, still to have get the official permission, and so on and so forth. And this is important. 47 children were brought from Russian occupied territories back to Ukraine by the Save Ukraine, a Ukrainian humanitarian organization. Of course, thousands of children are still out there. But you know what? Again, let's just rejoice for the 47 families that got their kids back. Among those kids were some that were heavily traumatized emotionally and physically. I'm sure we're going to hear some stories about how they were treated. More to come.